Can you prove it? What you say? First of all, I asked him, where did you get this stuff from? He's like, this is from Islam. This is our teachings. I was like, but where did you get it from? Do you have proof of all of this? He said, come with me. He took me to his office and he pulled a book off the shelf and put it in my hands. And I looked at it, and it was a blue book. It said, the Noble Quran. The Noble Quran. I said, what is this? He said, it's God's word. I said, yeah, I've heard that before. I said, well, he tried to start telling me where that it came from Muhammad. I said, no. It was revealed to Muhammad. I don't need to hear it. Let me read it. Give me the book. So I took the book home and I started reading it. And when I opened the beginning was just like reading the Lord's Prayer that Jesus taught his disciples to pray. Because the Lord's Prayer of Jesus in the Bible is in two parts. Praising and extolling the Creator God, and then asking for deliverance and forgiveness of sins. This is the first page. But what caught my attention was the second verse of the second chapter. Where this book is telling me that this is the book that has no doubt in it. And it is a guidance for whosoever fears their Creator. I was like, my goodness, this is blowing out the heavy artillery at the beginning of the book. To say at the beginning there's no error in this book, no doubt. And then later on in the chapter, it challenges you to find it. If you're in doubt about this book, then why don't you bring something like it? And call your helpers to help you. And if you can't, which you never will, then you need to fear the fire because fuel has been the stones. And then later on it tells us, if this book had been from any other than God, you would have found contradiction in it. All in the first or the second chapter. I'm like, my goodness, this is like a direct slap in the face to me because I found contradiction in every book. So far, I'm going to find it in this book too. Because this book is provoking me. You know what I mean? I like to fight. So I get to the third chapter, fourth chapter, fifth chapter. Guess what? I start to see names that I've known all my life. I see the name Adam, Noah, Abraham, Lot, Moses, David, Jesus, Solomon, Zechariah, John the Baptist. I'm like, I know all of these people. But where did they get these names from? I was like, they probably copied this from the Bible, but it's an impossibility. It's an impossibility because the stories are nowhere near the same. They're nowhere even similar to each other because these people in the Quran are the best of people. They are the greatest of humanity. They are God's chosen people sent to not only tell you the right way to live, but show you the right way to live. And not only was their obedience commanded, but following in their footsteps were commanded. This would be something I would never tell anybody to do with any prophet in the Old Testament. Maybe you can listen to what they say, but don't do what they did. No, the commandment is dual in the Quran. Listen to what they say and do what they did. These were the greatest people on earth. I said, these are prophets. These are the way prophets are supposed to be. Perfect in every way. And the book, so far, is showing itself to be this. So I kept reading and I kept reading and I got to the last chapter. To make it very short, I looked hard in the English language to find some fault, to find the contradiction, to find the irrelevancy. And I couldn't. I've been doing this now, studying it in the original language for going on 13 years, and I still haven't found the contradiction of the problems. So the conclusion I came to at the beginning was true. I closed the book after reading the 114th chapter on Sunday night. Sunday night, 3 days later, I was addicted to the English. It was easier to read the English. And the only thing I could say to myself was, this is the book that has no doubt in it. And it is a guidance for those who fear their Creator. So I said, God, I got on my hands and knees. I said, I would have never thought that I would find you in this book. It blew my mind. There was no way these crazy Muslims could have this book. So the next day I went to the Imam and I told him, I said, where did you get this book? He said, it was given to the Prophet Muhammad by the angel Gabriel. And it is the book that is revealed to Muhammad and is the last testament of God, following after the Old Testament Jesus. I said, I'm going to be a Muslim. I thought he was going to fall on the floor. He was like, why? He said, why? I said, because your book is what it says it is. It is the proof that I've been looking for. Tangible. In my face. He said, but do you believe there's only one God that has a right to worship? I said, I've always believed this. This is what God has stated since the inception of the creation. He said, true. He said, but also you have to believe in the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So let me tell you a little bit about Muhammad. Why don't you come in? I said, I only have one question for you about Muhammad. All the things I've heard about him, I only have one question. Did he give us this book? Did he directly give us this book? He said, yes. And I said, then he is what he says he is. He's a prophet. This is his evidence. You don't get a perfect book from a perfect God through an imperfect medium. So that day I made the statement that there is none that has the right to be worshipped except the one true God, whom we refer to as Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is indeed the messenger of God, along with Jesus and the rest of the prophets, tracing all the way back to Adam, the first human being. And I accepted Islam in December of 1998. And ever since then I have been on a mission. And I hope to be my life mission, to make sure that the truth of this beautiful way of life is easily accessible. This is why I do what I do. I don't do it for entertainment purposes. I don't do it for vainglorious purposes. I woke up a long time ago. This is the worst way of life if you want to be vainglorious about it. I do this so that anyone who wants to know what Islam is really about, you can have access to that information in light of the entirety of the disinformation that is being spread about Islam, the misinformation, the misrepresentation, what I like to call the real WMD, the weapons of mass distortion. That is the real terror that is played upon the world, is playing with people's minds. So I want everyone to know that the truth is out there. If you really want to know what Islam is about, you're not going to find it on the BBC. You're not going to find it on any channel on Sky, except for maybe a couple of the Muslim-owned channels. And hopefully the one that I'm about to bring to the UK, called Guidance TV from the United States, the first ever Islamic television station in America. But if you want to know the truth, you're not even going to find it from most Muslims. That is my disclaimer to all of you here. Do not look at us and judge one of the world's greatest religions, because we're not worthy of that assessment. I'm not a great enough and worthy enough person for you to take the entire religion of Islam and judge it off of me. Nobody has that right and capacity. There's only one person. If you want to judge Islam off of people, there's only one person that is given that right, and that's Muhammad himself. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. He's the only person that was given the right for you to look at him and judge Islam. And we're taught to do that as Muslims. But if you want to know Islam, you have to go to its sources. You have to do the diligence and go to its sources. That book sitting over there, the life teachings of the man who gave it to us. And that's it. Anything beyond that is speculation and up for debate. Go and do your diligence, because anything above that is just injustice. It's injustice. You cannot do justice by being unjust to anyone. So that is my humblest requirement and request to anyone. And that if you want to come to the truth of your Creator, it's in that book, without a shadow of a doubt. And if you've come to that truth, it is the simplest idea. It does not take some major ritual where you gotta go and, wear some fancy costume and do some fancy crazy thing and jump in a bathtub or anything like that, to become a Muslim. To accept God's oneness and to worship Him as one. You simply admit it. You admit it. That's it. That's all a Muslim does, is they admit it. They, inside of their hearts, admit it, that nothing has the right to be worshipped except one God. And that Muhammad is indeed a messenger of God along with all the other messengers. And then you proclaim that. You admit it with your tongue. I bear witness that nothing has the right to be worshipped except God alone. And I bear witness that Muhammad was indeed a great messenger of God along with all the other messengers. It's that simple. It's that simple. And that is the reality of Islam. That's the reality of my story. Whether or not it is feasible, I don't know. It's my story. I'm just giving you from the vantage point on the inside looking out. You on the outside looking in. But for all of my Muslim brothers and sisters, I have been on the outside of Islam looking in. And I have to say there's a big shame upon all of us for what we have not done. Not for what we have done, moreover what we have not done, which is disseminate the correct information about Islam so that people can make their own choices. So that people can make their own choices about what Islam is and what Islam is not. Because for far too long the message has been what Islam is not. And that's not going to bring anyone to any good conclusions. We need to tell them what Islam is. Because if you know what Islam is, then it's very easy to tell what Islam is not, because they become contradictory. When the truth is known, falsehood is also known. But when the truth is not known, falsehood itself is not known. It becomes ambiguous and can be meddled with the truth. But when truth is known, falsehood will also be known, because they both have characteristics that are contradictory. So if anyone also feels like they have come to a point where they want to accept Islam, now's the time to do it. You can come see me right after this, and I can show you how easy it is. Because that's what I'm here for. That's why I do this, to bring people to that worship of God's oneness. If not, I should just go home and you could have put a video on YouTube. There's plenty of them, good ones. But I thank you very much for your time. If you want to, you can sing afterwards. I thank you very much for your patience. And my last 30-second disclaimer. For all of the information that I could not tell you, all of the little bits of information that I saw in the Old Testament, that I saw in the New Testament, Jesus' life, his words explicitly, implicitly, how Christianity debated about the statements of Jesus and the personage of Jesus in the 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th centuries, any of those, any type of information that you want to know is going to be right outside on the table to your left. And when you walk out, it's to your left. For our non-Muslim guests, they are my gift to you, because this is what I do. But for our Muslims, brothers and sisters, I'm going to charge you for them so that I can continue to give them as a gift. Because this is my personal production, so you gotta pay. And it is my humble request, for whatever reason, maybe one of our guests do not want to come to the table, or they don't come to the table, or just to join with me in this project, my humble request is that you come and purchase some of those and give them to our guests as your gift. Because if I give the gift, I get the reward. And I don't mind, I'm greedy. I'll take all of the good deeds. I will. Seriously, you don't have to. Not making it. But if you want to share, because I know I'm not going to lose anyway, then you can come purchase them from me and give them as a gift to our friends, which is what I encourage you to do, for no other reason than for your own benefit, and so that I can continue this work. And there's 11 titles, well 10, because I forgot one somehow. 10 titles of all variants of types of things. So come and get at least one or two and give them as a gift, so no one leaves here without something. I'm going to give them away. Thank you very much for your time and your patience, and I look forward to being back. I'm going to be here until the middle of March, maybe April, so I look forward to maybe being back. Thank you very much for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Jazakallah khair. Allah reward you for such an inspiring, illuminating talk. And I would like to echo his message actually. If there is anyone in here that would like to accept the message of Islam, then feel free to put your hand up, and Brother Yusha Evans will take you through what needs to be done. But in the meantime, I think we have some time for some questions. That's right, the rest of you, yeah? Good. So if you would like to ask any questions, just put your hands up. Put it out really high because it's very difficult.
Sorry, assalamu alaikum. You said, I always ask questions at these gatherings, so you have to excuse me. You said something you said that your grandfather told you, if you know something is true, you must have proof. What gave you the proof that the Quran is the truth?
It's an amazing question. And I'm very, very grateful that you asked such an amazing question. It is an amazing question in itself. What does give us the proof that the Quran is the truth? The proof itself is that the Quran for 1400 years, since it was revealed, has been challenging mankind to disprove it. It claims that it is the truth. Therefore, the fault of proof, or the default of proof to prove it otherwise, is up to the individual. If it's making a claim that it is truth, then God places on us the burden of proof. That if you want to claim it is untrue, then prove it. Prove it. Bring something like it, something similar to it. Find a contradiction in it. Find an error in it. Find a mistake. Find a fact that is disproven by science or reason or intellect or metaphysics or anything that is known. Prove it. And that is the challenge that has been there for 1400 years, to disprove it. And the more people have attempted to disprove it, they have only done more to prove it. The more scientists have tried to go and disprove it through science, they have only done more but to prove it. And a lot of them accepted Islam because of it. The more that they've tried to go through and use its social and equitable laws against it, have only come to the conclusion that actually these were the best social and just laws ever enacted for humanity. Even the Bishop of Canterbury here, not too long ago, said that, and almost lost his head and his job and his life maybe. But you know, the burden of proof is there to prove it. I mean, the Quran is perfect. There's no scientific fact that has been unproven. Actually, science has done a great job in proving Islam. even though it's not a book of science. It is a book of ayat,